Every single day, we're making hundreds of choices. What to have for lunch, whether to hit snooze one more time, what to spend our money on. But what if I told you that every single one of those decisions has a hidden cost? A cost that goes way beyond the price tag. And understanding it, well, that's the key to making smarter choices in your life, your work, and even how you see the world.
And hey, this isn't some new idea. This fundamental problem of choice was perfectly described by the economist Lionel Robbins way back in 1932. He basically said that choosing one thing means you have to give up other things. And that one simple, powerful idea, it's pretty much the beating heart of all of economics. So that's the big mystery we're going to unravel today. What are we really giving up? Because the answer isn't always obvious, but trust me, it's always there, quietly shaping the outcome of every single decision you make.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this hidden cost, we've got to start with one simple, unshakable truth that basically runs our entire lives. We live in a world of limits. And that truth has a name: scarcity. It's just the fact that our resources, I'm talking our time, our money, our energy, they're all limited. But our wants? Oh, our wants are pretty much unlimited. And it's this collision between what we want and what we actually have that forces us to make choices. We just can't have it all. We have to decide. Let's make this real. Meet Alfonso. Now, his weekly budget is pretty small, but his problem is universal. He's got $10. He can spend it on burgers, which are $2 each, or bus tickets, which are 50 cents. He could go all in on 5 burgers for the week, or he could get 20 bus rides. More likely, he's going to end up somewhere in the middle. That line you see, that's his limit. That's scarcity, right there in a picture. But here's the thing. Alfonso's budget line doesn't just show what he can buy. It actually reveals the true cost of his decisions. And this is where we uncover what is maybe the single most important, most powerful concept in all of economics. It's called opportunity cost. And it's not about the money you spend. It's about the value of the next best thing you didn't do. See, when you choose one thing, you are, by definition, giving up the opportunity to do something else. And the value of that lost opportunity, that is the real cost of your decision. So what's the real cost of a burger for Alfonso? It's not $2. Nope. It's the 4 bus tickets he has to give up to get it. That's the opportunity cost. So the question he has to ask himself is this burger really worth more to me than 4 bus rides? That trade-off is at the very heart of his choice. Okay, now let's scale this idea up to a huge life decision. Think about the cost of a college degree. Sure, there's tuition and books, but the biggest opportunity cost? It's often the 4 years of income you are not earning while you're sitting in class. That money you could have made is a massive, and I mean massive, part of the real cost. And this way of thinking isn't just for you and me. It's absolutely critical in the business world. Businesses make huge investments all the time. And understanding opportunity cost, well, that's often the difference between a successful company and one that goes out of business. And businesses have to think about 2 kinds of costs. On one hand, you have explicit costs. These are the obvious ones, the money you actually spend on things like salaries, materials, and rent. But then you have the hidden ones, the implicit costs. These are the opportunity costs. So imagine a company owns its building. They could use it for a new project, or they could rent it out for, say, $100,000 a year. That $100,000 in lost rent is a very real, though invisible, implicit cost of using that building themselves. And this is why accountants and economists think about profit so differently. An accountant looks at accounting profit. They just subtract the obvious explicit costs from the money coming in. But an economist looks at economic profit. They subtract both the explicit and the implicit costs. So business might look profitable on paper, but it could actually be running at an economic loss, meaning its resources could have been used better somewhere else. Economic profit answers the real question. Was this the best possible choice we could have made? All right, let's zoom out one more time. Because this idea of opportunity cost doesn't just stop with people and companies. It scales all the way up. It actually shapes how entire nations decide to trade with each other. And the key here is a really powerful idea called comparative advantage. Now, this isn't about who's the absolute best at making something. It's about who can make it at the lowest opportunity cost. In other words, who gives up the least to make this one thing? That one question is basically the engine that drives all of global trade. So let's break this down with this simple example. At first glance, Agent B looks like the superstar, right? They can catch more deer and more rabbits. That's what we call an absolute advantage. But the real story here is in the opportunity costs. For Agent A to get 1 deer, they give up catching 5 rabbits. But for Agent B, that same deer costs them 10 rabbits. So who's the more efficient deer hunter? It's Agent A, because their opportunity cost is lower. They have the comparative advantage in deer hunting. And here's where the magic happens. If they each specialize in what they do most efficiently and then trade, they both end up with way more food than if they had just worked alone.
So let's bring all these big ideas right back down to you. Understanding these concepts isn't just for an economics class. It gives you a powerful set of mental tools to make better decisions in your own life, every single day.
And one of the most powerful tools in this kit is understanding a really common mental trap, the sunk cost fallacy. A sunk cost is just any resource, time, or money that you've already spent and you can't get back. And the key is to recognize that since it's gone forever, it should have zero, absolutely zero influence on what you decide to do next. Here's the classic example. You paid $8 for a movie ticket. 30 minutes in, the movie is terrible. So what do? That $8 is gone. It's a sunk cost. Your decision now isn't about the money. It's about the opportunity cost of your time. Do you spend the next 90 minutes being miserable? Or do you leave and do something, anything else with that time? An economist would say, forget the money, save your time, get out of there.
Okay, let's pack up your new mental toolkit. First, remember that scarcity is real. Every choice is a trade-off. Second, always weigh the opportunity cost. Don't just ask, what does this cost? Instead ask, what am I giving up? Third, find your comparative advantage. Focus on what you do most efficiently. And finally, you've got to master the art of ignoring sunk costs. Base your decisions on the future, not on the past.
And that brings us to the final thought. Of all your scarce resources, nothing is more valuable or more finite than your time. So as you go about the rest of your day, I want you to ask yourself this question. What is the opportunity cost of the next hour of my life? What is the best alternative thing I could be doing with this time that I'm about to give up? Answering that question honestly, well, it just might change how you spend